Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, where last episode, after picking up Susie from Mel Strongheart's office, walking in on a conversation where we learned that her father was ill, causing her to leave imminently to return to Japan. We visited the hospital only to find Sholmes' bed still empty with the operation supposedly not going well, due to the fact that they couldn't put the coffee-filled detective under anesthetic. Hoping that it all goes okay, Susato chose to visit Gina in prison, finally coaxing the truth out of her in regards to what happened with Magnus McGilded on board that omnibus, as we learned how it feeds into our current case, becoming her defense counsel, as we now have what we need to investigate. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please?
What is it now? Should go home and get some rest.
Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers.
Your ladyship! Ow! I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is.
I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue.
Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship.
Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime then?
Do as you please. You know where it happened? Through that door behind the counter.
Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank and Gina.
Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then.
Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector?
If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through, it's taking forever, even with the lads working round the clock. Which is the problem, because there's another case the Yard needs to investigate urgently.
That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matter before.
So what I'm saying is, don't get on my feet, sunshine.
Come then. Let us not waste any time.
And let us not waste time at all. I guess I don't really need to speak to any of you anymore. Though I definitely want to check you out. I reckon it will fit in there. Nah, it's a really big music box.
That's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Runo?
Yes, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan.
Oh, well, this will be a treat. Shall we have a listen?
Do we have the other disc? I can't place the tune, though.
What do you think? Isn't it a pretty sound?
It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks.
Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Gregsy to have a word.
Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. I feel like she should be. Now, can I actually investigate this now? Ah, look here!
Oh yes, a bullet hole. And I can see the bullet is still lodged in the wall.
This must be the one that hit Sholmes? Presumably Mr. Windibank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time.
Ah, well... Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can.
He's very patriotic like that, is he? Sorry?
It's all there in the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, you know.
Isn't that right, Iris?
Ah, did I write something like that?
Partly in jest, perhaps.
In jest?
Well, he doesn't do it often. It is quite a dangerous pastime. He doesn't do it often. He shouldn't even do it once.
Forget that for now, Runo. Let's examine this bullet.
What can we examine of it?
What's that around the bullet hole?
Is it blood? Ah, a suspicious red stain on the calendar.
Aha! I may well be able to help with that.
What?
There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Runo?
I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris.
I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it. You see, when it comes to blood, we're all different types.
Yes,
What a scientific observation.
So you need this.
Oh no, what is that scary looking thing?
Hedy and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does.
Watch.
What's a lumino gun?
Oh, the color of the bloodstain has changed. Haven't you just corrupted evidence?
There. Does it make sense now?
Yes, I think I'm starting to understand.
Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see. Yes, how wonderful. The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. So you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at. In a flash. Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Guinea would say it's bleeding great.
So, whose blood are we looking at then?
Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood a different color, so... Just find someone whose blood turns the same color and you'll know who it belongs to, in a flash.
It's more like 2 flashes really, isn't it?
1 flash or 2, this could well turn out to be a very valuable clue. So we must make a note of it in the court record.
The blood sample has been entered into the court record. A sample of blood analyzed with a special chemical indicator developed by Mr. Sholmes. Different people's blood turns different colors.
Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio.
So what we're going to do from now on is we're just going to like, can you cut your hand a bit? And then shoot their hand. Oh, okay. It was you. We're just going to make like a rainbow crime scene a bit.
As long as I have reagent left, sure.
So I can't just fire it everywhere. Okay. Well, I guess we'll shoot some more bloodstains in the future then. That's the article ledger here and Mr. Windibank's notes. And... what's this? It looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind.
Oh, look on the back. There's some writing. Is there? Ooh, show us, Susie. Show us.
15th of February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited, 1 gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15th of April, 10:30 p.m. A gentleman's overcoat, pawned for £1. Clearly, it was a very fine coat. In fact, I think...
Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Guinea redeemed yesterday.
And is still wearing, which belonged to McGilded. I would never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though.
Seems Mr. Windibank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have to hand.
This photograph of a cat looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently.
Oh yes, you're right. Very recently. It's the same as the one Guinea gave us earlier.
Of course, I was forgetting that she gave us that print.
Oh, what are you waiting for then, Mrs. Naruhodo? Get it out.
All right. Let the cogs turn. You're forcing me to examine the backs of both, aren't you? Even though I've already done that.
Yes, they are exactly the same. I've got it. These 2 photographs hide an amazing secret.
A secret? What does she mean?
You must tell us, Iris, at once. Do you really want to know?
Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. Oh, God. Just tell us. So, Iris, about these 2 photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Windibank's counter and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these 2 identical prints?
Actually, that's not quite right.
Sorry.
If you look carefully, the 2 prints aren't the same. Not exactly.
They're not. Though maybe do spot the difference now.
Have another look at them now.
I didn't do very well with that on Neo Twewy. So the face is slightly angled differently. So it is just a moment in time going forward by the look of things.
Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other?
I think so. It's very subtle though.
What's the reason for the subtle difference between the 2 prints? Ah, well, it's because they're a set, you see.
No, I don't.
This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment.
Ah, stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently?
Oh, yes, that's what Mr. Shom showed us yesterday. You see, there it is, just over there.
Ah, yes, of course. That magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch.
Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions.
What? Really?
Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful! Then I'll be able to tell you.
She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene.
I, for one, simply have to know.
Right, so how do stereoscopic prints work?
Have you ever considered, Runo, how our eyes see depth in the world around us?
Well, I just open them and it works. Yes, that's all we need to know.
But the reason it works is because we have two eyes.
Ah. 2 eyes. Shocking.
If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away. What you see with your left eye and what you see with your right eye are ever so slightly different. You get a different view of each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly. And in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how we can sense depth in everything we see.
Ah, my brain really is amazing, isn't it? There's so much without telling me.
Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consist of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick.
So if you could persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'd be able to see depth in these prints.
Yes, Runo, you're beginning to understand.
And the stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that.
Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all.
You can? Really? Well then, tell me how. Is it by blurring my eyes? Going cross-eyed, right?
Let's try it. Let's see if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Oh yes, I'm dying to have a go.
Sam really loves this kind of thing.
You need to be able to cross your eyes. That's the main thing.
Can you both do that? Cross my eyes? I think I can.
Watch me and see if you can copy.
See, the weird thing thinking back at this is it's like 1800s to turning into 1900s England, right? Whereas I remember, again, growing up, like PCs, video games consoles, you know, when I was born was literally when like Zelda was released and stuff like that. Like Mario, I think the first Mario game was released. Like it was all in the infancy. So of course, the weird things we had when we were young and played with were just, you know, these kind of books and stuff. It makes me just think like, oh my God, things have changed so much in just the 35 years I've been alive. Everyone else now, you know, you have your tablets and everything. Like, you have technology from your fingertips from the day you're born. And we had this stuff that was being, like, the fan in the late 1800s and 1900s. We were still looking at this stuff. Which is kind of bonkers, too. Watch me and see if you can copy.
Make your eyes do this.
Oh, I don't need to do it yet.
All right, let me try.
This would make a great thumbnail, though.
Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo?
There! How's that?
Wonderful. Now it's your turn, Runo. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time.
Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed.
All right, that's enough practice. Now let's try it looking at the prints. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. You should see two overlapping images like this.
You try now, Runo. I'm just gonna have to give it a try, I suppose.
Did the print split into 2 images for you? Now the next step is to put the pair of prints side by side like this, and then to try crossing your eyes again. The prints should slowly merge together until they form a new single image in the center. Oh, yes! Mr. Naruhodo, it works. I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real. Oh, I can look at it all day.
I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt. Just reminds me as well of those tubes with the bit at the bottom that you just twirl around and it has different parts in it. Oh god, back in the days of spirograph.
Your turn, Runo. Pretend you're looking through the 2 pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the 2 images overlap exactly in the middle.
I can't do it. Mainly because I want to look at the text. Like, this is it. Feels like you need to be closer.
There, you managed it. So now you know how stereoscopic images work.
I don't even know if that works on a screen like that, but tell me in the comments if it worked for you.
Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. So what do you think of these stereoscopic prints then, Runo?
They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly.
No, some people find it easier than others. But that's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that. We saw it over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here, and this brings back so much memories. Then set the pair of photographs in the stand at the back, and I'm not even kidding you,
I think I had one of these as a kid, but of course it didn't look anything like that. It's just all plastic.
It's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now.
This makes me sound super old, doesn't it?
Oh, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently.
And if these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them.
But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case.
Also cheaper. Stereoscopic pictures. I'd never even heard of them until yesterday. We've certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge that I'll ever actually need. We're definitely going to need it. The second white cat photograph has been entered into the court record. It also had some blurred on it.
Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here.
I have noticed.
The red smear, you mean?
Yes, it looks like blood, doesn't it? I wondered if Susanna-san had picked up on that. Well, in that case...
Yes, we need Iris.
We should show this to her before we forget. White Cat Photograph 2's information has been updated in the court record. Remember that it's also the ticket for the coat, which will probably come into use later on.
Oh, that looks like blood.
I would say it's from a gloved finger, almost certainly a glove made of leather.
Well, don't worry, Runo. You can leave the rest to me.
Which color? Oh, purple person. Look at that.
Yes, that's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? We simply must add it to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue.
Now I'm wondering what blood type goes which color.
Although it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point.
Well, this particular stain of blood...
Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is?
Yes. I think I do.
Yes, I have an idea whose blood it is. Not from the color it turned, but with a little deduction. That's right. I think it's clear. Iris, you know as well. You first, Runo. Who do you think it belongs to? Alright, I believe that this is the blood of...
Damn it. I'd have to say Pop Windibank now, because I thought it was the blood of that random guy, because he caught his finger and he bled a little bit on it. Oh, wait a second. Do I still have that? No. God damn it. Well, I have no clue. You'd think it would be Gina, but why would Gina get cut? Gina would have had to bring that in. So I guess I'll go with Gina.
Oh my, you think this is Gina's blood?
Yes, it was Gina who brought the ticket here to Windibank after all.
Sometimes the simplest answer is the right one. But Gina doesn't own any gloves at all.
Oh.
And Ginny wasn't injured either, was she?
No. Ah! Yeah, but my entry wasn't there.
We're trying to work out who the blood came from, so we can rule out anyone who hadn't been bleeding straight away.
Perhaps my answer was a little too simple. I'll have to think this through some more. Who do we know was bleeding at the time? Wait, I've got to answer no matter what? Well, I guess it now is Pop Windibank.
You think somehow it could be Mr. Windibank's blood?
Well, he would have been the last person to have handled the ticket. Sometimes the simplest answer is the right one.
But Mr. Windibank had no injuries before he was shot, that is.
Yeah, I know. How can I get out of this?
We're trying to work out who the blood came from, so we can rule out anyone who hadn't been bleeding straight away.
Yes, of course. I wouldn't have even picked up this picture if it wasn't for the fact I accidentally clicked on this whole area.
Perhaps it's not a concept you can really grasp unless you bled before yourself.
Funnily enough, I have accidentally cut myself before, but thanks for the mildly threatening advice, Iris. I'll have to think this through some more. Who do we know who was bleeding at the time? Well, then this must be Thrice-Fired Mason. Thrice-Fired Mason. Yes, okay, don't worry. Third time's the charm. It's thrice-fired in our answer.
You don't sound very sure of yourself, the way you trailed off there.
See, I wouldn't have even got to this bit if I was trying to click on those glass fragments on the ground. That's how we got on the blooming table in the first place. Now I'm led down a merry dance. Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course, I'd never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. It was definitely thrice-fired, though.
The victim of the omnibus case. Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. But that would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago.
Well, yeah, duh. Who didn't get that in like 3 tries? Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windibank yesterday. I'm suggesting the bloodstain was already on it at the time.
So is this smear of blood from the time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago? Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night.
Yeah, covered in blood. I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man's a hand. It certainly does look like a leather-gloved thumbprint, this mark. We know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time anywhere on his body, from which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason.
Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes.
Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. Nope, we had many of them.
Yes, I think you're right, Runo. Very well. Let's make a note of this.
The details of the pawnbroker's ticket for the coat have been updated in the court record. I mean, we got there in the end. Blood samples portfolio has been updated in the court record as well. I don't know if I'm supposed to spend any more time here. I was supposed to go to the back, but I really wanted to examine that down there, which got me swept into everything else. So with that said and done, I'm going through now.
Behind that door is the storeroom, isn't it? That's what Grexy said.
Yes, and that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. Mr. Windibank, face down on the floor, with Gina beside him.
As the accused legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. We must make a thorough investigation.
Yes, of course, and we will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime.
Don't worry, there are clues in there. I'll find them.
Alright then, do we leave here yet or not? There's still more to check out. What the hell? We haven't even checked out everything here?
This is the place we just checked out. That ledger that's open on the counter there really is enormous, isn't it?
Must be an awful lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items in pawn.
There's too much to think about. Better to sell it all and have a clear head if you ask me.
Clearly Mr. Windibank was very careful when it came to the articles in his care. Okay, now it's checked.
These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy.
Yes, it's a really strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example?
Well, sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know. Are you alright, Runo?
Oh, it's just... Well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but when you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you own them, even that horse statue.
That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever.
Is it now? You want to own someone else's stuff desperately, do you? Well, onwards to the storeroom then. The question is, I really don't know if we even examined everything there to its largest extent. We need to still check out a lot of blood. Speaking of blood... Poor Iris. She's clammed up completely.
Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windibank's life was taken in this very room only last night.
Ah! Wait, Inspector! What is it now, Sunshine? You took one look at me and tried to run away. You figured Scotland Yard Inspector would run away from some jumped-up little defense lawyer, do you? Well... I've never seen her ladyship looking like that before, is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her. So you weren't running away from me, you were running away from a 10-year-old.
I'm afraid this is all a little too much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector.
Eh? Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you're not dead, are you?
I don't think that went very well.
Why? Look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine. I told you not to get on my feet.
And we have investigating to do ourselves.
Yes. I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say.
Oh, Hurley.
And inquiring into how Mr. Sholmes' operation is going. Alright, before we investigate, let's talk about the scene of the crime. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here? Sure, you've got eyes, haven't you? Use them! It is what it looks like. Nothing more, nothing less. Iris, could you lend me a hand?
So, Gregsy, what do you make of the crime scene here?
Oh yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene.
The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside.
So it was locked from the inside. The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officer's doing?
Quite right, ma'am, quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in, as humbly as possible.
Oh,
As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, lustwise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vial gut a child.
are you talking about Guinea? She's my friend, you know, Inspector.
Mr. Strud, that hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know.
Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious.
And I'm afraid to say, she had the gun that was used in her hand.
No! Presumably it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now.
In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well.
What? The key to the storeroom? And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector?
Correct. All of which leaves her ladyship's friend. There's something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of misunderstanding.
Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Tell us what you want to know. Or tell us what a certain Iris wants to hear at this point in time. Got to keep your spot after all. Let's just hope she doesn't come up with her next episode saying like, Inspector Gregson said, at least you aren't dead. To the person who's dying in some kind of empathetic scene. That's what we're doing. Speaking of empathy, we should probably inquire about Sholmes' operation and find out anything extra we can. But with cross eyes, we say goodbye for this episode of Great Ace Attorney Adventures. We'll spray some more blood and find out what color it is, as well as check out the vault itself next time. See you guys for that then. Bye-bye.